Hello everybody and welcome back to episode 140 of the Save Slot 3 Gamescast. I'm your host, EOF Gizmo, joined this week by Massive Daz.
Hello everyone.
And Mr. CW Lanky.
I'm tired, Dave.
Yeah, well it's that Christmas retail fun for you boys. I feel for you, as someone who's free from the madness. I do feel for you, but we've got a fun-filled episode this week, the last episode of 2024, which is crazy. 9-year anniversary, I believe, next year, Chris, in February, of what was Pod of War, which is wild. Maybe we'll go back and revisit the first episode and just see how wrong we were about various things. But let's start this.
No Man's Sky is great.
I mean, I think I said from day one, like, I don't trust it. That's my only, like, one thing I claim, like, yeah, I told you all. Then didn't we play it on day one and we were both like, oh no.
Yeah.
Because people, like, hated you for it, didn't they? What was that guy's name in work? The word on bakery. He was like, you've betrayed me, Pengles. You told me it would be good.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. One of Ant's friends.
Was it Ben?
Yeah, I think it was Ben.
Ben.
He was like, damn it, Pengles. And you were like, well, you should just listen to watch the trailers, really, Ben. But if he was listening to the podcast, he would have known. But, Chris Pengelly, we need to get to our favourite section of this podcast, and that is, of course, the Chris Pengelly News Desk. Time for some news.
We have 7 items, Dave.
That is
got me.
a baker's dozen, Crean.
Number 1, Xbox Series Architect has been announced as VP of Next Generation at Microsoft. Will also be appearing at Future Handheld Console panel at CES. Davey?
Yeah, so what was the bearded guy called, Craig? Ronald something? Jason Ronald?
Jason something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was Jason Ronald. So he's the bearded guy. That was in all of the pre-release stuff for the series consoles, if you remember. He's now basically been made their VP of Next Gen. Which basically means he's architecting the hardware and making it all combine. And then I added the extra wrinkle that he is one of the guests at the Future of Handheld Consoles panel at CES, which has been hosted by Lenovo, but Valve and Jason Ronald from Xbox have been confirmed to be there. So I suspect it will be talking about Windows Compact, which is the Windows version for handheld consoles they've been working on in secret. Not so secret, it's been out and tested for ages. And of course, SteamOS coming to new platforms.
Yeah, because I was going to say the SteamOS is rumoured to be coming to that new Lenovo. So it'd be weird, though, if you got Valve and him from Microsoft there. Because surely it's not going to have the Windows Compact. Well, unless I guess the Windows Compact in the background, like you can run Windows on a Steam Deck.
I think
they just feel like operating systems. Like, oh yeah, the Steam one or the Windows. You go for one or other.
I think that it's going to either have a dual boot option or that you can pick an option when you buy it. I think that's the way they're going to go, because I think both companies are really open to different hardware manufacturers. Traditionally, Microsoft has been really partnered with stuff like people like Logitech and Asus, the traditional laptop manufacturers, whereas I think Valve has been a little bit closer to the gaming platforms. So it's interesting because Lenovo used to be part of Sony, I believe. So it's an interesting wrinkle in it. But yeah, it's cool. It's cool that we're going to get some information about this in January. I think me and Chris have both said I think the handheld console is the new battleground for the traditional consoles. I don't think traditional consoles are really a thing outside of that anymore. But yeah, I think it's really interesting. You got any thoughts or dreams about this news, Corrigo?
No, I mean, I imagine we're still a long ways off, right? So it's hard to get too excited. They did say, didn't they, that they were going to give some news of new hardware in the holiday. I don't think they have, so...
I think that new hardware was that 2 terabyte Xbox Series X. I mean, that's the new hardware.
I think it was just them confirming that they're making one. Really. But maybe this was delayed. Who knows? Because obviously the Lenovo Go S, right, which is the one that's more of a handheld, isn't it? Because the Lenovo Go you take apart, it's like a Switch, isn't it?
Yeah.
But this new one looks more just like a traditional handheld. I think the chips are just easier to make now. I think it's interesting. I think Microsoft are going to continue to do the put our stuff on other platforms thing until they make their own. And if this one is cheap and has a good version of Windows, I think for people that are interested in a Microsoft handheld that don't want to wait until the official Microsoft one, I think it's a good step. Personally, if the Lenovo Go S is cheap enough and it has a like actual consolified version of Windows, then I'd be more tempted than say like a ROG Ally, which is just literally Windows and is a bit of a nightmare to use. But it's interesting for the future, Pengi.
Yeah, because you haven't got like a proper, a mouse and a keyboard. You trying to do stuff with a mouse keyboard with controller buttons on.
Yeah, and it's very you have all the back end problems, because the reason that Steam Deck is so good is that it has that tailor-made interface that feels like a console. Like it's like, I know it's big picture, but it just feels like a console. You pick it up, you can download games, it shows you your stuff, all that. Whereas like when you use like the ROG Ally, there's a lot of like installing drivers and all that kind of stuff, and it's obviously slows the system down as well. Like it's more difficult to optimize, because it's just not built for it.
You do have to update those drivers.
You really do, and as well as you know from the Steam Deck, Pengi, it just does it on its own when you turn it on, for example.
Yeah.
So it'll download the correct version of whatever when you install a game.
Yeah, I will add to this thing. It's not really news, but Jess Gordon from Windows Central, I think it must have been today, article up or something like the future of Xbox hardware, and he said he brought up like, I can't remember who it is, but ages and ages ago, when it first like Xbox are putting games elsewhere, we're thinking 12 months ago nearly now, and it was Starfield rumored still not coming, and how Xbox might partner with like a Valve and a Dell and somewhere to make that's how they made it. And he did an article, and there's like today I think about like that's what you could see Xbox doing, especially with like it's everywhere and everyone can make their like Xbox.
Yeah, I mean that's what Satya Nadella wants, right? So we will see.
So
so
instead of like Windows being the OS, Xbox will be the OS. Yeah, from what his article was saying.
I think that's what the Windows Compact will be called. It'll be the Xbox handheld OS, right? Because that's what the Steam OS is. Because in reality, it's Linux, not Steam. If that makes sense, it's like it's like a tailor-built piece of software, right?
That must be the most popular thing with Linux on in the world.
Well, it's because of the what's it called, Chris? There's a thing that they use as a layer between. Because of that has improved because of the Steam Deck. Linux is probably a better gaming platform right now than like Mac by a long way. Whereas 10 years ago, the only Linux game that you had a choice you could play was Football Manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can always remember you could the OG PS3 could run Linux on that somehow.
The PS2 could as well back in the day. But anyway, Chris, enough about Linux. Let's move on to news story 2.
Number 2, Sony becomes the biggest shareholder of Kadokawa at 10% worth of shares. They bought like 100-something million of them, but it's 10% in total of the company they now own. So not a full buyout, they just own a little bit, but they are the biggest shareholder. Davey, thoughts?
Cool. If that's what that company needed to stave off a hostile takeover, that's cool. And it's the best for everyone, because Sony don't have to sack a lot of people because they don't need certain parts of it. And I imagine part of that deal will be some sort of game exclusivity on something. It won't be all of their games, like, because they make too much money on other platforms. But yeah, if you're going to get your Bloodborne, that'll be where you get it from.
Yeah, it says the whole write-up is like how like something partnership and like how they can leverage like the IP into live action. So I don't know what anime IP they actually do own, but it says like live action, and I guess now Sony has 10%. They can get and for like games they brought up like bring to more markets and stuff. So I guess there is stuff, especially like a Spike Chunsoft that's stuck in Japan. So like I guess Sony. Weirdly, it might be Sony Music, because they've done that a couple of times, and games have appeared on like Switch, like published like in the West. So I can see a few things like that stuff. Plus, like you said, it could be easier for Bloodborne remaster or something to happen that people want. So yeah, maybe. Davey, Craigie, thoughts?
This is the company that owns From, right? This is where we're going.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, this was rumored before, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they now, yeah.
Yeah.
They just bought a little slice.
A little sliver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Obviously, they make so much. I know you got the whole anime thing, but also they make so much money, don't they?
Yeah.
You want a piece of that pie, don't you?
Oh, yeah. It is interesting, like, it's... Because I know Sony had shares in From Software as well, so I don't know how that, like, works. Now they have a share in, like, the whole company, sort of thing, but yeah.
Chaos.
Sticking with Japan, though. Trails in the Sky first chapter being confirmed in 2025, coming to Switch, PS5, and PC via Steam. There's probably going to be a PS4 version as well. Normally is in that. Yeah. So Davey, the Trails games. Have you played any? And if not, we'll be jumping into first chapter.
So I have, I have played a couple. This is one of the ones I have played. It was, if you recall from last year's gaming wrap up, this was the one game I finished on. Well, not the one game, but like the main game I played on Steam Deck last year. The Trails in the Sky, which is a PSP game, and it came to Steam a couple of years ago, and it's been stuck on that platform. And it's the start of a long-running JRPG series that we've talked about a couple of times called Trails. And the thing with Trails, Craig, is that all these games interlock into an overriding story. So to get the full story, you need to play it's very Yakuza. You need to play like 12 games. But a lot of them, there was a publishing deal. There was a thing between NIS and Marvelous, I think. So like some games were, but anyway, it was a mess. It was a really good game. I really enjoyed it. It's a great story. But if you recall, they did announce during a Switch montage at one of the directs that they were doing a full remake, 3D, beautiful graphics, all that stuff. But they finally put out a trailer announcing it's coming to other platforms. It's confirmed it for 2025. Game looks fantastic. It's kind of it's a turn-based RPG, but it's kind of grid-based. If you've played any of the other Trails games, you'll know. But yeah, it's a really good series, and I'm very excited that it's getting a sort of a new life. I believe the company founder actually passed away a couple of weeks ago. And he's had these plans in place for a long time. So they're a very small company, but they've kind of grown over the last couple of years. All they really make is Trails and Ys, as we'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, really excited for this. I know we're going to talk about most anticipated games later in this episode, but it was quite high on my list anyway, but it's jumped up a lot more now that I know it's probably going to be coming to everything apart from Xbox. I don't think they've ever made an Xbox game, so it's going to be interesting to see how it does. But yeah, it's cool. The first trilogy, the Trails in the Sky trilogy, is a really deep game, has a really good story, really good gameplay. So excited, Chris.
Yeah, I'm excited for this one because, like you said, the Trails game is a bit of a Trails series. I do own some of them on Vita, but it's like a hard one to jump. Oh, it's Legend of Heroes. Oh, it's the fourth game, even though it's the first Legend of Heroes and stuff like that. Well, this is a remake of the actual first game in the series. So for like me or like Craig, this is a good jumping in point because it is the first game, and they said if this do well, we'll get a second chapter. The only other starting point I can think of is Daybreak, because even though it's like the 9th game in the series, it is a brand new arc, so you are missing context of it, but it is a brand new story arc. I guess a bit like playing Infinite Wealth, you don't know everything that's happening. Not Infinite Wealth, like a Dragon. Yakuza is like, oh, it's a new story because there's new characters, but obviously you don't know everything happening because you haven't played the 6 before it. I guess Daybreak's a little bit like that, but this being a full remake of the first one is very exciting.
And I will say for Craig, I believe they're all voiced in English.
They are.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about your issue with Yakuza where it's all in beautiful Japanese. You can in fact play the game and they'll talk at you in your native tongue.
Yes. Yeah, I can see it being a good. I can see it would be a good, like next year's metaphor for you, Craigie, on the portal. A little bit turn-based combat, play a few battles, and move on. And I'll move on to the next news, and sticking to Falcom, Ys versus Trails the crossover fighter is coming to the West in 2025 to PS4, PS5, and Switch. This is I think it's a HD remaster of a PSP game that was locked in Japan until now. So this is not a remake like Trails in the Sky the First. This is a remaster of a game that's never been in the thing. So I guess back over to you, Dave. Are you looking for a Ys versus Trails fighting game?
Well, it's one of those. There's a lot of fighting games coming out very soon, so it's interesting that it's all coming back. But it's cool that this game isn't locked over in Japan. It's supposed to be quite good. Again, if you've played, I haven't played enough of the series to probably get the most out of it. But it's cool to know it's there should I want to.
Yeah,
you know.
I don't know who actually made it originally or anything, because I think first in my mind is like, oh, Persona 4 Arena, and obviously that's Arc System Works, and they've done like the BlazBlue games and other crossover games, but I don't think they did this. I don't know how good it is an actual fighting game, but
it was developed in-house at Nihon Falcom.
So it could be good. And keeping on that news, Ys 10 is getting the Atlas treatment because they announced an enhanced version of Ys 10 called Proud Nordics, which is coming soon. At the moment, it's only coming to Japan, but considering Ys 10 has come to the West, I can see Proud Nordics also coming to the West. And that game only just sort of come out over here, so like be like 6 months later, and you're suddenly getting the enhanced version, which I believe has a new island or something on it. So yeah. It's weird because I don't think Falcom's ever really done that, where Atlas do it like every game. Like you're waiting for Metaphor, ReFantasio, Golden, for instance, aren't you, Davey?
Well, they do it every time, but yeah, it's interesting that Falcom have the last 5-10 years they've had a really big push into the West.
Yeah.
So it's cool. It's clearly done well enough for them to do what they want to do.
Everyone in Japan's doing well, apart from Square Enix.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. Next news: the Switch has surpassed the PS2 in the United States of console sales, but it is still behind the DS. And then College Football 25 is now the best selling sports game of all time in the US, and has made the top 50 best-selling games of all time in general as well.
But it's not good enough to be nominated for best sports game of the year.
I don't get that, because critics gave it a decent-ish score and stuff, and it's like, yeah, I don't get how it didn't even get a nomination and stuff. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Yeah. Will the Switch pass the DS, Craig? That's the...
I don't know then, Pengi.
I think the Switch itself is on 46.3 million in the US. So, yeah.
I mean, I would probably say yeah, because it would keep on, even once the 2's out, it's going to keep selling, and that's...
Yeah. They could, just keep the Switch light down, around, cut the price a bit, bundle with Pokemon. You're going to sell loads still, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
What about college football? Being best selling sports game of all time seems a little bit surprising, but they haven't had one for 10 years, though, over there, so maybe that's why.
Yeah, I think so, and college sport is doing really well in America at the moment as well. Like it's kind of the perfect like cycle for it all, really. But yeah, it's cool. Again, I've played it quite a lot, and I have enjoyed it. So it's I think it makes perfect sense to me.
Didn't they used to do a basketball one as well?
I think they have done a basketball one in the past. Yeah, I think so.
Do you think they would try other college sports like basketball?
I think they would, because the female NCAA has done so well in terms of viewership. But I think they'll branch out into other sports if this continues to do well.
Yes.
Americans
Yes,
love sport, Pengi, as you know.
They do. They do. Where's the lacrosse game? That's the question.
They've made lacrosse games in the past.
Yes, I know. But I want EA's lacrosse.
God.
Does anyone even understand what happens in lacrosse?
Vaguely. Very vaguely.
Even the people on the pitch, they know what's happening.
It's like Gaelic, but not as good.
Yeah. What is good is Marvel Rivals, because it's surpassed 20 million players. Craigie, you're one of those 20 million players.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of hype going into it. Betas obviously were very well received, right?
Yes.
I know everyone likes Scars because it's got the Marvel IP. I think even without the Marvel IP, this game does very well, right? So.
Yeah. How much have you played? Because I haven't played that much of it since we played it that once. I think I've played 1 or 2 more matches and stuff, but not a huge amount.
No, I haven't played much. I was trying to play some Indiana Jones, which we'll talk about later, obviously. And then very busy after that. So.
Yes. I feel there's a game that I've played that where I could have played this has taken the spot instead. Anyway, next news. Octopath Traveler series has hit over 5 million in sales. That's just me buying it multiple times.
And never playing it, right, Pengi?
Never. Oh yeah, never playing it. Never. Yes. We've all dabbled in it though, and we've played other games like Triangle Strategy in this same engine. Of that was even on Game of the Year. Was it 2022? Was our Game of the Year Triangle Strategy?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was a good game. It weirdly got a port to Quest of all things, Triangle Strategy.
What?
Yeah, it's on Switch and Quest, and PC.
That makes no sense at all.
Yeah, you got like the battlefield in front of you, and you can like move around and like use your Quest things to like, controllers like to move the battlefield around and like pick up the characters and like dot them around it. Yeah, it's a weird port to do. Like, no, not to PlayStation or Xbox. The Quest, but yeah. So I guess we'll see a third Octopath Traveler, considering it's doing quite well, and Square need a hit again.
Yeah, and it will be 90 hours long again, I imagine.
Yes. And when did they use this engine for Final Fantasy Tactics, Dave? The sensible thing to do.
Oh, I don't know. I think they're going to hold off on it because they're just. Although 5 million for Octopath Traveler isn't too bad, they want
it's like 2.5 million per Octopath Traveler. I guess,
yeah, and they're on everything.
Well, I guess do they count the mobile game as well? I guess that's free.
It says series, so yes. But yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, I don't know. I think they probably need to hold off on making everything a 2D HD game for a bit.
Yeah. But how else do you do Tactics Remaster? That's the question.
Will anyone buy Tactics Remastered? That's the thing.
Yes, that would sell easily. Baby.
We'll see, Pengi. We'll see.
Yeah. And last one, Sega has talked of potential subscription service. So I guess like Ubisoft Plus, Dave, because you added this one quite late.
Yeah, so there was a big interview with I can't remember.
Or EA Play.
Yeah, I can't remember what the guy's name was. It was the head of Sega America, I think. Amongst other things they talked about, like he teased Sonic Adventure 3, Pengi, which is, having just watched Sonic 3 in the cinema, absolutely something they're going to do. Yeah, he talked about the potential of them following suit with the likes of GTA and Ubisoft and EA and having their own service, basically their own service of Sega games. Obviously they've pulled a lot of games off of platforms recently,
And weirdly they normally, like, I know they haven't got a huge amount actually announced for next year, but like Pirate isn't coming to Game Pass and they normally partnered quite heavily with Xbox.
Yeah, I think it tends to be like a year after, Craig, right? Because I think Like a Dragon came about a year after. I know they had Gaiden, but you'd imagine Infinite Wealth coming in January, February wouldn't be completely out of the realms of what they normally do. But yeah, so I think that Sega are sort of getting ready to really expand again. They've got a lot of games in development, so they've got obviously all of their new versions of old games they talked about, right? So like Crazy Taxi, Shinobi, all that stuff, as well as I think Sonic and Shadow did quite well. Obviously, Metaphor's been really well received. Like a Dragon has never been stronger than it is right now. So I kind of feel like if they're gonna do it, this is about as strong a position as they can. I think it's just it's one of those things. I think it is just the way these companies are going. But yeah, as Mr. Sega, I suppose at the moment, Craig, Mr. Atlas anyway, would you be interested in a Ultimate Edition constant £10-15 a month for Sega games?
I think it's really hard because you've got to be able to pump out such a endless stream of content to keep people satisfied, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's difficult. Even with obviously all these kind of bringing back of these old IP that they teased a couple of years ago, I think it's really hard to keep people like staying engaged in the subscription service if you're just like a publisher like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it'd be difficult. But I definitely use something I could use, but it'd be something I would use kind of almost like Ubisoft, where you subscribe for a month to play what you want to play, and then you unsubscribe.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
which is not really what they want, is it? They want.
No, I suppose the biggest difference with Sega is they have a much bigger back catalogue of games. Being that they had 4 consoles, so it's again, like I'm kind of similar. I have such subscription fatigue that I'm like, I could really do without another one. But it'd be interesting again if it were to attach themselves to something else, like EA Play's done with Game Pass. I think that would, for me personally, that would work the best. But it would be interesting.
The Yakuza guys love Game Pass as well, don't they?
Well, yeah, they've credited as like
about
saving the
how
series,
it's brought it back. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think the most sensible outcome for all of this would be some sort of Sega classics, like Ubisoft does for PlayStation, where you can just get like the odd selection of older games on like Game Pass or EA Plus or whatever. But yeah, we will see, Pengi.
That is all the news, I believe. Yes, it is all the news.
Lovely, Pengi. So let's move on to the next part of the show, which is the double tots. So we've got a double tots, and they're all pretty interesting. So we're going to start with our yearly wraps, Pengi. So you can start, because obviously we're not going to put them on screen. I might have mine on screen just for something to look at. But yeah, talk us through what your Pengals year in wrap has been. So far.
You just want all the platforms. Yes.
Should we do like PlayStation for all of us and Xbox for all
of us? Whatever you boys want to do, I'm down for whatever.
Right. So I will get Nintendo out of the way. Let's just get them out of the way. I haven't even bothered loading the wrap up because I've played 4 games this year on Nintendo Switch, and I can tell you the 4 are Pokemon Shield, Princess Peach, Snufkin, and NSO Super Nintendo. A total of 13 hours, all in the month of March. That was it. That was my Switch playing.
It's not the year of the Switch. It was March was the month of the Switch.
Oh yeah.
I say month, 13 hours. That's a Tuesday for you, basically, isn't it?
It's a Tuesday. Yes. And I think 9 hours of that was Princess Peach. So yeah.
Well, I'll follow Pengals' Nintendo up with mine quickly. Yeah. Mine is, oh no, we don't see enough play data on this Nintendo account to continue this experience. Full stop. I think I played. Did I load it up at one point and play some Mario 3D World? I think I did, and I think I was very underwhelmed, like I kind of was when I played it originally. And I was like, oh, maybe I should actually finish the Bowser's Fury thing. And I played about an hour, and I was like, nah, I can't be bothered. I think that might have been my Nintendo experience of 2024.
Yeah, that killed the Switch for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Dave, me and Craig played a total of less than 14 hours of a Switch. How have you done on the Switch?
As the last purveyor of fun in video games that I am, compared to you two grumpy bastards, according to Nintendo, I played 90 hours before October 31st, because for some reason that's as far as it goes up to for me, which is strange. And it says I've loaded up 38 games. I mean, a lot of them are NSO or like I've downloaded stuff, right? So my most played games, Craig, which will shock you in absolutely no way or whatsoever, are Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Advanced Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, and Splatoon 3. Not a surprise for anyone. I know that stuff isn't on here, so like I've just finished Grapple Dogs 2, which was about 8 hours. That wasn't on there because I started that in November. Well, I finished it in November. And obviously I've been playing Yakuza Kiwami, which I have 9.5 hours of playtime according to the in-game shenanigans. So it's just over 100 hours for me on Switch. Yeah, stats wise, I've quite enjoyed what I've played on Switch. My most played month according to this was September. I play a lot of Mario Kart, and that's kind of it. And a couple of the games from this year's backlog challenge were on here. So Pokemon Legends Arceus I played in January quite heavily, because I fucking love that game. And when I went on holiday, I played Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I played Paper Mario Thousand Year Door. I finished Tears of the Kingdom. I've played Pikmin 4. Like I've had quite a good year of playing Nintendo games really, and I've been quite pleased with what I've played. And I think this is the first year that NSO has had anything really worthwhile for me personally. Like I've quite enjoyed going back to the Super Mario Land games. I've quite enjoyed playing stuff like Paper Mario 64. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with my year of Nintendo. This is the first year that they haven't had a new Pokemon game, which probably is why it's as low as it is. As you know, most Pokemon games are 30 to 45 hours if you play them properly.
Yeah.
So that probably is a big factor for me. And I think for you, if a Pokemon game was coming out November or December, you probably would still have had the Switch to play it. But
yeah, maybe.
Again, is what it is, right? But yeah, like I'm pleased enough with what I've played. Yeah, and obviously I know we're having a big game of the year shenanigan thing after the new year, so we'll talk about what we think of companies then, I suspect. But yeah, I'm happy enough, Chris, with my year of Nintendo.
I didn't even know Nintendo made my top 5 platform holders / companies, whatever I called it, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk about mine when we get to it.
Yes. I know you also, like me and Craig, haven't played any Steam, but I know you have played some Steam, Davey. Do you want to fill us in with that?
Yes.
Before we move into the big two?
All right, again, big two's a debate, but we'll talk about that when we get to it. So my Steam year-end review is actually on the Steam app. So I've played 15 games this year, which is one less game than last year, Craig. It also lovingly tells me that one of them is a demo. So it doesn't give you time in hours, like I can work out from clicking on the individual things. But the most interesting note this year is how little Football Manager I've played. So which I've only played, and I say only, 30 hours. So I think in past years it's been well over 100, hasn't it, Craig, as a minimum. So obviously we haven't had a new Football Manager this year as well. But it's interesting to see that games like Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Traders on here that I've played for 9 hours. Balatro I played for 3 hours. We've got what's the next game? 2 Point Campus I played quite a bit, which I didn't even realise I know I'd played it this year, but I played it for a lot in May. I played 14 hours of it in May.
That is quite a bit, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and again, it's that type of game as you sit there and you just play it, don't you? Because obviously it works so well on PC, and obviously The Witcher 2 Assassins of Kings I played 7 hours of at the start of the year, because again that's on Mac. Yeah, and some other things, and Art of Rally, which I finished, that took 7 hours. So yeah, I think probably relatively close to the Switch hours actually. But again, I've been quite pleased with what I've played on Steam this year. Steam's a funny platform because obviously the only purpose-built hardware there is the Steam Deck at the minute, and I don't have a Steam Deck currently, and I probably won't get another one. You can never say never with me, can you? But it's one of those. So I'm quite pleased. It's good to see there's some relatively new games being playable on Mac. I wish there was some more so we could play more. But yeah.
Cyberpunk, and that's playable on Mac, or is your Mac
Cyberpunk is not playable on Mac, not on Steam.
Is it?
Death Stranding
Steam.
is from. It's not.
Yeah.
If it is, then it's you have to do some sort of hacking.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't do that. You know that. But yeah, we are going to get 2 football managers next year, Chris. So it could be quite because we'll get 25 and 26 next year.
You think they're going to do both next year? I don't think they will do both.
I think they will.
I think they'll do a free update for 2025.
No, they've done this before. They did this for Championship Manager 4 and 0304. Wait, 4 came out in like March, April, and then the new one came out in November. Same as always.
Yeah, I'm not bothered with 25 then.
I'll be honest, I wouldn't.
Yeah, well, it sounded a bit Pengi.
Yeah, I'd wait. I'd definitely wait.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't got any Steam. The last Steam game I played was 2023, apparently, so I have no data on Steam. Craig, you definitely haven't got any Steam data, I gather.
I don't even know if I've got a Steam account, to be honest with you, Pengi.
Yeah, and nothing else. I've not had a Quest wrap up, so we'll move on to Xbox.
Oh, that would be bleak, wouldn't it?
Yeah. You say that? Who betting I've played more Quest than I have Switch, though?
Potentially.
I've played more Quest than Switch and Steam combined. But anyway, on Xbox, I played 136 hours this year on Xbox with 21 games played, with my preferred platform being PC with 68 hours, and that 68 hours is all Football Manager 2024. So my preferred platform is PC because of one game, Football Manager 2024. My second most played game was Dungeons of Hinterberg at 20 hours, and then Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition after that. If the thingy on the bottom is correct, my fourth is Diablo 4 apparently.
How much game score did you earn?
I earn a 5,710 and 187 each achievements. And if I go on to true achievements, does it say I played? How many games does it say I played on that? Because the Xbox one's mostly going to be right though. I can't find that. On the Xbox one, it says I only played 12 games. So. True. So I must have loaded up stuff. I only loaded up like football, EA football. Like, did we play that, Dave? On Xbox.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, and apparently I played something called Stampede Racing Royal in game preview. Nice. So yeah, it's between 21 and 12 games played on Xbox this year. But yeah, PC with Football Manager, my top thing. I am down from last year, which was 300 and something. It was like, I think it was 366 hours last year on Xbox. So, obviously the Switch is massively down. Last year on Switch was like 295, and now it's down to like 13. So that's a huge drop. But the Xbox is a bit of a drop as well, with a good couple hundred hours there. Craig, what's your Xbox looking like?
So 433 hours. I believe this doesn't update either, does it? From when it came out,
it does.
Oh, it does. Okay. Yeah. So 433, and you'll be glad to hear, boys, that all of those 433 were on console. Because I'm not a nonce.
Damn right you are.
So,
how else do you play Football Manager, though, Craig?
Football Manager has a console version, Pengi, as you well know.
Yes, but it's Football Manager. You have to have a mouse.
You tell the police that when they come knocking on your door, Pengles.
It's not wrong.
Busiest month was March. Like Pengles' month for the Switch. Probably because I probably had loads of holidays to use up like normal in March. That's normally the reason, I suspect.
Mm-hmm.
14,728 gamer scoring.
Nice.
Happy with that. And 29 games played, apparently. None of you would be shocked to hear that the number one was Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, which was 73 hours, boys.
Jesus.
COD or Diablo could have been number one, considering how those sort of games are.
Well, number two, Pengles, is Call of Duty. Obviously, it is slightly weird because Call of Duty is the hub, isn't it? So that will include Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 728, whatever one we are playing at this point, which is 60 hours. Which is quite good for the Call of Duty hub in a year, I feel. And then the number 3 is Banishers, which is 38 hours. So yeah, that's it for my Switch. Apparently,
Banishers is quite surprising considering you played a lot of Diablo.
Yeah, Banishers long though, wasn't it? Very long.
Yeah, it was annoyingly long, but yeah.
It was quite long, yeah. And apparently I'm a night owl. You prefer quests over objectives with a dash of magic.
Yeah, I got the same with that. Weirdly, I didn't mention my busiest month was August. I don't know why. Did Dungeon and Hinterberg come out in August? Yes, it did. Yes, 11th of August. I did earn a. But that was doing I guess Football Manager I spread over the year, didn't I? That kind of makes some sense, yeah.
What I do like is I'm only in the top 10% for time played, but the top 1% for gamer score. Love that.
Nice.
No.
Right, what about you, Davey?
So on the Xbox platform, I have played 256 hours. Apparently 108 games, but as True Achievements tells me it's at least half of that. And then if you go down to the bottom, it has your favourites. It has Final Fantasy 13 3 times, GTA 4 times, and other such. I'm not going to trust it, but there we go. My total achievements earned so far this year, Craig, is a very satisfying plus 400 achievements, which is 9,097 gamer score.
Nice.
My busiest month was November. That was absolutely COD and GTA 4. And I've played all of my time on console because I've never touched a child. I'm in the top 1% for gamer score. I'm in the top 1% for achievements unlocked and the top 15% for playtime. My top played game, which shock to no one, is Call of Duty with 39 hours, and that is purely Black Ops multiplayer because I played maybe 20 minutes of the campaign. So that is pure, unadulterated multiplayer with Craigo. My number 2 is Grand Theft Auto 4 with 31 hours this year. I'm in the top 10% most active in the game for that, which is quite funny because I thought that would be a much lower percentage, but people still play GTA. And then my number 3 game, it actually has changed because it was Diablo 4 with 16 hours, but that has now changed to WRC Generations, and I am in the top 1% for that, and that is 27 hours, which is neat. Craig is my most played friend, and my whatever they've categorized me as, a big time brawler. There's no better feeling than winning a huge battle with your friends, because obviously most of my Xbox play this year has been online with Craig. So there we go. But yeah, I think overall I've quite enjoyed the Xbox platform this year. It's been a very weird year in terms of their games on Game Pass, because I have no interest in Hellblade, so I didn't play Hellblade. I don't play indies, as you know, and all of the stuff I will play has come out.
Oh, but indies supposed to be really good.
Indies, as in independent games, Chris. You're being facetious. It was
very
loud. It was very loud in my ear as well, that joke. But okay. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle has only just come out. That'll probably be a next year game for me now. I'm not going to have enough time to play that with the other games I'm playing. But yeah, I'm happy enough with Xbox this year. So pleased. I don't know what next year holds. It's like a little bit less game time, I think, than last year, or it's around about the same. I can't remember which one, but it's not out of the ordinary, being 250. But yeah. But we have now got Chris's jump in game time to talk about.
Yeah, I was going to say the one thing we didn't pick up was genres. So my top genre is sport, but that's obviously Football Manager. And then action adventure, which I guess because of Dungeon Hinterberg and beyond. Then shooter, and then racing and flying. My top 4 genres.
Yeah, mine was action adventure, shooter, racing and flying, and role playing.
Nice.
What
was your favorite best genres?
Oh, I can't remember. I've clicked off now.
Okay.
Yours. Let's just say yours was shooter and action adventure, Krieger.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. So then moving over to PlayStation, which the PlayStation Rat says they played 137 games, but through trophies says it's 68, because like I loaded up Sly Cooper 2 because there was a collectible for the PlayStation Stars, and obviously that accounts as 137 games. So I believe the true of 68 games over the PlayStation's 137. I don't trust it. Trust that. Then my top 5 games. In 5th place was Rise of the Ronin with 31 hours. And now in 4th place is Helldivers 2 on 33 hours. Then in 3rd place is Elden Ring at 47 hours. 2nd place is Dragon Age The Veilguard at 47 hours. And then number 1 is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth at 60 hours. Which gives me the roleplay bot, my gaming style. Which just makes sense when the top 3 games I played were all RPGs. So that makes a lot of sense. Then my calendar is, so January is Resident Evil 4 is my top play, then Helldivers 2 in February, March was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, April was Rise of Ronin, May was Stellar Blade, June was Sly Cooper and Fuvius Raccoonus, July was Banishers Ghost of New Eden, August was Dustborn. Dustborn was my most played game in August. Not Concord, because apparently Concord is totally scrapped. No times of Concord will show. Otherwise, I would have thought Concord would have been my most played game in August. Because I played a lot of that in the 2 weeks I could. September was Astrobot. October was Elden Ring. And November was my top month, and it was Dragon Age: The Veilguard's top game. I played 98 hours in November. So I almost played the same amount of the whole year of Xbox in 1 month of November, mostly because Dragon Age. And then December is Infinity Nikki, is my most played game. Craigie?
Yeah, like I said, I think the police will be paying you a visit soon, Pengi.
Yeah, at 15 hours apparently. Then it's got the what it picks for you, I'll skip that. And total hours, apparently 723 on PlayStation 5, and 17 on the Portal. And then trophies, I earned 1,455 trophies, 26 platinums, 208 golds, 346 silvers, 875 bronze, increasing by 38 levels. And then Take a Trip is the trophies, so Knife in Resident Evil was the first one, and then the latest one, so 1,000, I had 1,000 was Jumping Ice Cube, was in one from Infinity Nikki, which I know hasn't updated, because I think my latest trophy is in Helldivers 2, not Infinity Nikki, and I got the, finishing the game trophy, which is after this one, so that is not updated. And then it's collectibles and stuff. Yeah, so that's everything. So yeah, my time's gone to 700, and last year was 300 and something. So yeah, I've gone up about 500 hours on PlayStation this year. So those 300 hours of Switch and those 300 hours of Xbox last year have gone in PlayStation basically. But it does mean I'm played about 100 hours less this year, though, if you had the 3 last year combined and the 3 combined. Craig, do you want to do yours next?
Yeah, so I've apparently played 239. Which is across 22 games on PlayStation. And the stat I do like is the Portal hours. The Portal hours was 102 hours on the Portal.
Well, that'll be why you've played more PlayStation this year, then, wouldn't it, Craig?
Yeah.
We've long talked about Craig's desire to have the play in bed platform.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a big number. I'm quite happy with that. In terms of games and trophies, where do I even see trophies? I don't know if you got to scroll through this. It's very annoying. In terms of games, apparently I'm a role player. There you go. In terms of games, boys, right. Number 1, Metaphor, 36 hours, but that's not right because it doesn't include the demo.
was going to say, didn't include the demo.
Yeah, so it's actually 46 hours. And I don't even think I'm anywhere near done yet, boys. So there you go. Number 2, Silent Hill at 24 hours, and it did feel 24 hours.
Well, my
And
14 hours felt like 24 hours in that game.
and my PC is having an absolute heart attack. Here we go, I'm back. Number 3 was Astrobot, 24 hours. That's for platinum as well. Number 4, Helldivers at 17, and number 5 was Kana Bridge of Spirits at 15. I don't know where I see trophies and that sort of thing. Not that I'm that worried about trophies. I think I get 4 or 5 platinums this year, I want to say.
Yeah, it's after the calendar one or the total hours one is trophies.
There you go.
Yeah.
367 trophies
Mm-hmm.
and 5 platinums.
You must have increased your level quite a bit because I've gone 38 levels up.
I am okay. Your trophy level increased 185 levels, whatever that means.
That he's obviously played a lot more games. What was your best month? Obviously, mine was November because of Dragon Age, pretty much. I'm guessing whenever Metaphor actually came out.
Yeah, looks like January was 6, February 12, March 4, April 6, May 12, June 6, July 8, August 10, top month of September. Yeah, oh no, it was September when Astrobot came out. There you go, Pengi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense because you did play that pretty much all
Yeah,
that
I
right
had
away.
that. Yeah, plus I had Plucky Squire was on Plus, right? So I played that as well.
Yeah.
52 hours there.
Yeah, 52 hours is not bad at all. And then at least you then, Dave.
Yeah, so on PlayStation I've played 239 hours, which is 15 less than Xbox, but still pretty close. I played 7 hours of Portal, and all that 7 hours was the pure disappointment that was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Let's scroll back to top 5 games. Like Craig said, it is annoying. Top 5 games. So my number 5 was World Rally Championship 10 with 11 hours. Not a surprise because I love those games. Number 4 is Helldivers 2 with 14. Number 3 is Dragon Age The Veilguard with 15. Second is Astrobot with 19. And number 1 was God of War Ragnarok, which I played as part of my backlog. Craig really needs to play that game. And then, scroll back. What else did you want to know, Pengi?
I guess you would have been role player. It's after the top 5.
I am adventurer.
Okay, I guess with God of War, kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Then you have your calendar. So what was your best? I guess the God of War month would have been your best month.
So that was January. Like I said, I gamed the most in December and January traditionally. There are some bad months in here. There's March where I played 5 hours of Dragon's Dogma that I'll never get back, and then April where I played 10 hours of Resistance Retribution, which was fun, and some Sackboy with Craig in there. July, my game of the month with 5 hours and has nothing, so I'm assuming that's the Concord demo because that's been scrubbed. I got Wheel of Fortune was my game of the month in October, and so far in December it is Dragon Age. I got 4 platinums this year. 2 of those were PS Classics because I played Clone Wars and Retribution. The other one was Astrobot and I think the Gardens Between, perhaps. I think that's the only one I can think of.
Yeah, I think so.
13 levels. Telling me about my old trophies. I don't care. PlayStation. It was a thing, but yeah. That's that. It says I played 81 games. But I think like Pengals, I loaded it up for stuff.
Because it says under my 68 is still quite a bit on true trophies, but I believe that much more. Considering I've played 700 hours plus of PlayStation, I do believe the 68 seems quite quite logical. The one thing on here, like I got the role player one, which makes sense when it's Final Fantasy, Dragon Age, and Elden Ring, and obviously you got Rise of Ronin and what that counts as, and I don't know what Stellar Blade is. But I seen like Big Cow on, he's got a YouTube channel, and on titled Hack Discord, he's got role player game, and his top 5 is all like proper JRPG, like 2 Trails games and Ys, and like. Yeah, we both roleplay, but like but like completely different types of RPGs. Yeah, it's like you should have had like a weird Japanese RPG person, and I should have had, I don't know, weird Souls JRPG category.
Yeah, I suppose for next year, for me, I mean, I think January will be exactly the same. I think January will be by far my biggest PlayStation month because I've got PlayStation games for Christmas. But we will see, Craigo, for next year, which is a perfect segue into our last, well, not our last bit, but our last tot, which is most anticipated games of 2025. Pengi!
Yes.
So, how are we doing this? Because you two seem to know.
I think we just read our list, because if we go around in circles, we're going to be here all night, aren't we?
Perfect. Pengi, would you like to go first?
Okay, so my number 10 is Metroid Prime 4, which I was kind of surprised I put it on here, but I like worked out my top 10. It's like, yeah, I would play Metroid Prime 4. And I'd be a look. I say right away, but I won't. And won't be right away because there'll be like Switch 1, and I'll be waiting for the Switch 2 and all that stuff. But yeah, that's mainly after playing Metroid Prime 1 and Dread on the Switch and really enjoying both of them. If I hadn't played them, this would be nowhere near the list. Next, 9 is Avowed. Really excited for that one. Because I do like the Western RPG like this thing, and Obsidian are really good at and like these sort of RPGs, so yeah, that's good. Now number 8 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta Snake Eater. It's gone on the list. That Konami remake from development team is on the list. Dave. It made it.
But I thought you were never going to buy Konami games again, Pengi.
Yeah, I bought that. So, yeah, oh dear. Number 7 is Outer Worlds 2, because the first one is really good, and I watched all the secret levels, and the Outer Worlds secret levels was pretty good out of all those episodes. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. And then number 6 is Split Fiction, which Joseph Fares' new game, which we saw at the Game Awards. I guess that's why we can do this now, because there's not really going to be any more game announcements, apart from the odd one out of Japan from the news. So, yeah, that one looks really good, so looking forward to that. And it seems, from what, on Amazon when it's listed, the pre-order, it even has cross-play co-op and stuff, and you just download the app and stuff. So if I bought on PlayStation, Craig should be able to download the Xbox app, and if he wants to play it on there and all that stuff. Number 5 is Expedition 33, which is like Western-made JRPG and stuff, with like, I guess, realistic graphics, you would say. Sort of thing with like turn-based combat, which you don't really see that often in JRPGs, apart from like your Trails games and stuff like that. I was gonna say Ys, it's real time, but you don't really see turn-based combat that often unless it's like Atlas with their personas and stuff. So that's a really cool one. Number 4 is Elden Ring Night Rain. 3 months ago or whatever, this game would be nowhere near this list. And now it's my 4th most anticipated game for next year. So yeah, you both getting it as well, and we can play 3-player.
No.
No.
Oh yeah, Pengi. Yeah,
no, you're on your own. You're on your own, buddy.
Craig, you love a Souls-like and a roguelike combined together.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah. Sure, it's gonna be really good.
Yeah.
Don't wait for me, Pengi. You carry on, but
Yeah. Number 3 is Ghost of Yotai, which obviously is like the big PlayStation game that we're aware of coming next year. Like, could be anything, something else. But the Ghost of Tsushima is great. So it was as good as that one, and they would have learned stuff like the second games. Like Assassin's Creed 2 is better than Assassin's Creed, and Uncharted 2 is better than Uncharted 1, and all that stuff. So they hopefully should learn some stuff there. And then number 2, and on number 2 is Death Stranding 2 on the beach, which is the other big PlayStation game next year, from our friend Kojima. So that should be a weird time, as it always is. And then number 1 is Monster Hunter Wilds, which is really soon as well. It's February 28th, so we'll be getting hands on with that one pretty soon. And they actually did a community update thing recently, but it's like 2 hours long, so I did not watch it because it was just like a panel talking about the stuff, feedback from the beta test. But yeah, really looking forward to Monster Hunter Wilds. Will I import that DualSense, Dave? That's the question.
Maybe.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, that's my list. Ray, I was gonna say there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Japanese games. Quite a few RPGs and that sort of thing. Yeah. Craig, what about your 10?
Right. Let me just load it up in a second. Right, so I've done like the first 3 or 4 maybe are kind of in order, and the rest is just random. I'll be honest with you, it's just as I came up with it. Number 10, Outer Worlds 2, which obviously we weren't expecting to be next year until a week ago. So that's cool, right?
Yes.
And like Pengi said, the secret level episode for Outer Worlds is very, very good. It's one of my favourites that I've seen so far, definitely. Kind of Obsidian humour in that episode, I feel. So that got me excited again, boys, I'll be honest. Number 9. If I put Ghost of Yotai. Obviously not played the first one.
No,
but
this is set
cool.
This is set 300 years later, so Jin is. You don't need to worry. Great.
Yeah. So that is cool. I don't have to play loads of stuff before I can play this, right? So that's exciting. And the first one does look like a cool, great game. I've just never got around to it,
Yeah.
I've only had the PlayStation for so long, right? It's one that I probably would like to go back to and play, but it's difficult. There's so much on the PlayStation that I've obviously missed throughout the years, so that's hard. Number 8, I put Mixtape, which I believe is confirmed for next year. I'm pretty sure it was. At the
Xbox show. It was one of the ones I was thinking about, because their last game, they did the Artful Escape, didn't they? And that was
which I love. I love that game. It's so good. And this looked even better. This looked even more ambitious. And I'm as well, right? So that kind of that definitely means that I'll be there for it. Because playing the older indies and having to pay for them is always nice, right? 7, I put Avowed. So like Pengals, mainly spurred on by the recent previews, which have been very positive. I've always thought this game looked really good. Personally, I know some people kind of were a bit mixed at first, but just the Obsidian name kind of carried it through a lot for me. But yeah, I'm very excited. So the previews, the combat looks great. I'm in for that. Number 6, I put Fable, which supposedly is next year, right?
Yeah.
A bit of a hope and a whim there, I'll be honest with you, but what they've shown does look cool, and it is Playground. I love Playground, so I can't really not include it in all honesty. Number 5, I put Monster Hunter Wild. Sorry, I've actually written World, but it is Wild. Yeah. You're right. I'm gonna be honest with you. I feel like I should be more excited for this game than I am right now.
I think the problem is they've shown way too much,
I
haven't
think
they?
you're right, and I think part of the problem as well is every time they've shown it, I've looked at it and gone, "Yeah, it's Monster Hunter, isn't it?"
Yeah.
They're yet to like. They've shown so much, yet they've yet to show me what's this game? Like, what's different? What's the thing? You know what I mean? 'Cause, like,
You didn't
when
play
they
the beta, did you? Because it's like
no,
open world now.
yeah, maybe that. I guess it's hard for them to show that, but yeah, every time they show it, they're like, "Oh, those are the weapons that we've used before." And you're like, oh, "Okay, this looks very similar." So yeah, I mean, it's on there because I absolutely love World, and I like Rise quite a lot as well. So it deserves its place. Like, I should be chomping at the bit for this. And maybe I'm kind of not, but I do suspect that when we get to, is it February or March this comes out?
February 28th. Yeah.
There you go. That's when it will kind of all kick in, and I'll be
Oh yeah, I got the day off.
love that. Number 4, I put Like a Dragon Pirate. I've literally just written that because I can't remember the full name. Is it a pirate in Hawaii or something like that?
I think in it, Like a Dragon, Yakuza Pirate in Hawaii. I think it's the
There
full
you
title.
go. That's it. I mean, obviously, I love Yakuza games. This looks absolutely batshit insane. What more do I need in my life, right? The Yakuza pirate game. Madness. Madness.
That's 3 February games though. About Yakuza and Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it's a problem, isn't it? And we'll probably have a week off somewhere in February, though, so
Yeah.
that'll be that. Number 3, I put Split Fiction. Game looked so fucking good when they showed it at the Game Awards. So good. Unbelievably good. And there was people who had hands-on previews as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who talked about that they'd played it, and from the sound of it, it plays as good as it looks, which is almost seems too good to believe, but I can kind of guess that, honestly. Number 2, I think like pretty much any other year this would be my number 1, but there's an absolute beast at number 1. Number 2, I put Doom: The Dark Ages. I've spoke about Doom Eternal a lot on here, right? I love Doom Eternal. It's probably the best first-person shooter campaign game I've ever played. It's madness. It's like, I don't know, I think it's like number 11 or something like that on my top 100 games. And the main trailer we got for this looked fucking great, right, boys? It had a shield, boys, with a chainsaw around the outside, and he's riding a dragon.
Indeed.
What more do I need to say? Looked incredible. So I'm all there for that. And then number 1 obviously is GTA 6, which we've had that one trailer for, and that one trailer was great, right? And it's gonna be such a massive moment when this comes out. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be great, hopefully. So yeah. GTA 6 is going to be a mammoth at the end of the year, you'd imagine. So that's clearly and obviously my number 1. I absolutely adore GTA 5, and I like Red Dead 2 even more. Red Dead 2 is ridiculous. So yeah, very excited for that. Well, that's my 10, boys. Dave, hit us.
Nice. Well, my 10. Number 10, I've got Towerborn. I've liked what I've seen of the early access on Steam and the previews. I think that game's going to be fun as hell when it comes to Xbox, hopefully soon, so we can co-op it up. Number 9, I've got Capcom Fighting Collection 2, which has lots of games on it, but I'm excited to play Power Stone 1 and 2 online, because I haven't been able to play those games really for like 20 years, so it's cool they're coming back. 8, I've got Avowed. Like you guys said, I think it looks really cool. Obsidian tend to make pretty good games, and I'm looking forward to playing that in February. Number 7, I've got Football Manager 25. More of a morbid curiosity than anything, to see how it is on the engine change and all the other features they want to do. And obviously it's had such a heavy delay that I am interested to see how it does. Number 6, I've got Yooka-Laylee, which is the remaster of Yooka-Laylee. I liked Yooka-Laylee quite a lot, and it seems like they're fixing most of the issues people had with it anyway, so I think it's going to be an even better version of a good game. So looking forward to playing that. Number 5, Outwards 2, same as you guys said. Secret Level 4 was really good. The first game was really good. I have no doubt that this one will also be really good. What else we got? Number 4, I've got 2XKO, which is the Riot fighting game, which is obviously set in the world of League of Legends and Arcane and all that stuff. The previews of it will be pretty interesting. They've put a lot of time and effort into it, so I'm quite interested. I love a fighting game, so I'm really looking forward to playing that.
Davey, question: does that have a story mode, or
I don't think it's anything really has been announced in terms of story mode, so I would imagine it will, but you never know. I mean, the bread and butter is going to be the online multiplayer, right? Like all their other games. So
yeah,
I don't know is the answer.
I just think for me, no matter how I said this about Virtua Fighter as well today, it's like no matter how good the gameplay is, it's like I'm not gonna get good for the online multiplayer and stuff. So like for me, it needs a single player component.
I think it'll be free to play, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay, that's fine then.
Yeah, I think they'll make their money in skins like they always do.
Yeah, they'll just sell all those Jinx skins, won't they?
Exactly. Number 3, Trials in the Sky first chapter, like we talked about earlier. Can't wait to play this. We'll probably play it on Switch, but I'm looking forward to playing it because it's a cool game. And it looks a lot different in terms of the fact it's like a 3D engine and stuff, so that'd be cool. Number 2, I have hope and faith that this is still going to be a 2025 game. That's Gears E-Day. Gears 1 is our undisputed.
I don't think it was ever a 2025 game.
When I googled it didn't say it wasn't, so, and it was on some list. Well, I'm going to go with it. If not, it probably will slip. But if it doesn't slip, Gears E-Day. Gears 1 was our all-time Save.3 best game ever. This looks more of a return to that, and Gears is generally one of the best franchises every time it comes out. So, and it's been a while since 5 now, so I'm looking forward to it. Really looking forward to going back to Marcus Phoenix and Dom. I do think there will be a Marcus Phoenix collection this year if this doesn't come out. It might even come out anyway. But as that's not even remotely announced, I've gone for Gears E-Day. And my number 1 is, of course, Pokemon Legends ZE, because Pokemon games are always my most favourite games I play. Scarlet won Game of the Year a couple of years ago for me. Really enjoy playing Legends Arceus this year. It's a guaranteed 40, 50, 60, 70 hour game that I will enjoy. And that's why it's my number 1. Now, I can see as I've been talking, Pengos has statted some stats out. So go through some stats then, Pengi.
So, we all have... So all 3 of us have 2 games in common, which is Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed. Craig and Dave have 2 games in common, which is Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed, so the same way all 3 of us got. Me and Dave have 2, which again is Avowed and Outer Worlds 2. But me and Craig have 5 games in common in our lists. So that's half a list we have exactly the same. So...
And even the ones that like I have, like Expedition 33 would be, you know, if we did even more, would make mine, I'd imagine. I was probably looking at it, probably maybe the only one, but still, there's still another one which I would consider definitely.
Yeah.
I think what you can definitely say is it looks like a ridiculous year, absolutely ridiculous year.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of. I think Nintendo have got a lot unannounced if they're going to release a new platform, and I suspect there's a couple more big hitters from other platform holders and non-platform holders that are also unannounced. So I think you're right. I mean, it all really depends on when GTA 6 gets its date, because if that gets pushed or if that is September, the earlier that people know when it's coming out will be when more stuff gets announced, I think, because people just want to avoid it.
That's what I'm really curious about Avowed and Outer Worlds 2, because Avowed we know is February. It's like, where do you put Outer Worlds 2? Because if you go like November and that's GTA or something, and I don't think it matters. It's on Game Pass. GTA's out. Maybe it's the December game taking an indie spot or something. But you surely don't put Avowed and Outer Worlds too close together. But you don't want to put it next to GTA. Yeah, that's the one I'm really curious how Microsoft spread that. How like Doom is very different to Avowed, so you could have that like in March or something. It's not very similar, but Outer Worlds 2 and Avowed definitely are.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, I get the GTA thing, but there is also a thing of like companies still need to put games out, right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting games out, I'm not making money, are they? So
no, I don't think for first parties it matters a whole lot. I think it's more similar third parties.
Sony will get their 30% for all those GTA 6s sold on PlayStation. They won't worry.
Yeah, so Sony tends to be multi-platform is their star anyway. So again, like you said, they'll sell more bundles of GTA 6 than any of their own games, I would imagine. And Xbox obviously is gone the weird platform route, and Nintendo will put out a new console. So if it does indeed launch with Mario Kart 9, I'm sure it will do fine. If you put it out anywhere around GTA, it won't matter. So
I think Nintendo are the only person that can put out, like, if let's say the Switch 2 is April and it's Mario Kart 9, and then they have 3D Mario at the end of the year or something like that. I think they're the only ones that can really get away with putting out a big game next to GTA, because they're obviously very different. But I can't see, like, Ghost of Yotai being next in the same months of GTA, for instance.
Yeah, and again, like, Sony will put that out whenever it's ready, won't they? I think, but and Sony will know when GTA is coming out because they have to publish it to their platform. So it's you feel for other companies, like, we'll obviously do a big preview for next year in the new year, but like, you look at stuff like Assassin's Creed Shadows, that it's not made the 30 that we've talked about. So
that game's like, I was really excited for that game last year. Now I'm like, that game's like dead to me now because there's so much in February.
And obviously for you guys, Monster Hunter's been like that type of all-encompassing, life-consuming game. But there's so many games around it that you physically can't play every game. Even Chris Pengelly can't play every game that's coming out in February, for example. So
no. Weirdly though, I was looking, like, obviously getting that list. I think it's only really 2 or 3 games for me in February, which is Avowed and Monster Hunter. And there was something else in February that I actually really bothered about now. I can't remember what the other one is on top of my head. But yeah.
Yeah, I've just got up. Obviously, you've got Assassin's. So of games that aren't absolute trash, I'll ignore all the trash. We've got Civ 7, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Legend of Heroes, Trails Through Daybreak 2, Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6, Avowed, Like a Dragon, and Monster Hunter. And that's February. So I mean, if you were just Craig, you've got Monster Hunter and Lad, and that will take up the whole month. So if Craig had the urge in his balls to play Assassin's Creed, he isn't going to do it, is he? Like, Avowed's Game Pass, so that's different.
Yeah. Plus, I think this Assassin's Creed is going to, like, be really cheap really quickly. Most Ubisoft games are, but I have even more feeling.
Yeah, and again, you can do the service route, like Craig said, right? And it's like, even March looks ridiculous as well, if I'm honest with you. There's about 20 games on this list that go from Football Manager and Split Fiction all the way to Suikoden 1 and 2, Lost Records, Xenoblade Chronicles X, Tilia Yumia, one for Craig, Tales of the Shire, Hitman, World of Assassination for VR2 for Pengi, the first Berserker Kazan, that's Atom 4, blah, blah, blah. There's so much. So, Video games win, boys.
Well, that's what you'd be playing in the future, Dave. But if you were playing games now, what would you be playing?
Wonderful segue, Pengi. Let's start. We'll start with me, just so I can stop talking. So, pickups wise, Craigo, I have bought 2 digital games on Switch for a grand total of £10 after I used my points. I bought Akami HD and Onimusha Warlords HD because the game was happened and I haven't played either of those games, and they may make it to my backlog challenge next year. So that's the 2 games I've bought. Games I've played on Xbox, I have played and finished World Rally Championship Generations. I have 72% of the achievements because there's quite a lot of online achievements that are co-op on the co-op driver mode, which I just can't do. Love the game. It's just come to Plus, so if you've got a PlayStation and you want to play a rally game, it's a really, really good one. I'm not sure what's better between that and the EA WRC game, because obviously the EA WRC game obviously has a lot more of a budget, but because this is the 11th game that Nacon made and the last one, it is a very polished product. So I personally would go for Generations. I really like that game. It's really good. On the Switch, I have absolutely sort of shone in glory. That is Yakuza Kiwami. 9.5 hours in. Loving every second of it. It is one of the shorter Yakuza games, I believe, so I'm not actually a whole far away from the end of the game before obviously I get deep into playing Sega arcade games and all the other Pocket Circuit and all that. But I won't be playing Mahjong, Craig. That's all I can tell you. But yeah, really good game, really good port. I've talked about it a few times on here and on the forum. If you're a Switch owner that wants to get into Yakuza, it is more than a good enough way to go. And then on PlayStation 5, all I've done is play Cyberpunk 2077. I've got I think it's 8.5 hours, I think it says my save is. I've actually just opened up Phantom Liberty, should I want to do it. I'm really enjoying the game. They've had a lot of updates since we all played it, I think, originally. It's the last game that I'm likely to finish from last year's backlog challenge, or this year's backlog challenge, sorry, which would take me to 4 of the 5. And I played the other one, so just didn't finish it. So that would be cool. But yeah, really enjoying that. And that is what I've bought and played.
Very well. Very good. I will say on Mahjong, like, I know the G-name ads, some of them are big into Yakuza, and that there's like a trophies and stuff for playing Mahjong, and that always annoys them when there's Mahjong trophies.
I just don't understand it, Pengi. I can understand quite a lot, but every time I look at Mahjong, I don't know about Craig, I think he's obviously played quite a lot of Yakuza games. Well, I look at it and I'm just like, nope. Not a clue.
No, I wouldn't. Yeah, no, not a Scooby-Doo. What's going on there?
No. So, Craigie, what have you been playing, buddy? What have you bought? What have you played?
I don't think I've bought anything. The only thing I kind of that's turned up is Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed Edition, if that's what it's called. I can't remember.
It is.
Has finally turned up, boys, which is from Black Friday. I think that was the one where it gave me it was basically a month window where it could turn up.
Nice.
So that's finally arrived. In terms of playing, even though it's been a couple of weeks, not a lot, because we have obviously quite busy. Mainly just indie on Xbox, basically.
Hell yeah.
And I think last time we spoke, I'd literally done the opening, and I was still in I might have just gone to Italy, just gone to the Vatican. But I'd only really done the opening segment. I'm now in the second big area. I'm in Egypt now, basically. And I think I'm probably towards the end of the Egypt section as well. And I'm absolutely loving it, boys. I think it's incredibly good. It is literally Dishonored in 2024, but kind of indie-ish. It's just not what I thought I'd be saying I wanted in my life, boys, right now, but it definitely is what I want in my life. And it also does make me wonder, why did I stop at Dishonored 1? Why have I never played any more of the Dishonored games?
Well, they're all on Game Pass, boy.
Yeah, I've never played the weird spin-offy one.
Yeah, and why don't more people make this sort of thing? I think I said to Dave, the next James Bond game needs to be this, essentially. Perfect Dark needs to be this, but futuristic, because it's so good. The level design's brilliant. I love the environments, specifically the first proper big one you go to is the Vatican. It's really good. It's a fantastic map to play around in. There's a lot of side stuff to do. There's what it calls field work, which I think is basically the main side quests, and they're all very good from what I've done so far. They kind of have their own little stories. They also add in quite a lot to the story. You get an achievement for doing all of them.
Oh no, you're telling me I'm gonna have to do side quests?
Well, they're all pretty good in fairness, Pengi, and I think if you I think you'd get the game done in very ridiculous time if you didn't do any of them.
Yeah, I think on How Long to Beat is 11 hours or something for the story.
Yeah, if you just literally sprinted through it. So it does kind of point you to it. It does a very good job of kind of rewarding you and kind of pumping everything back into the systems. It has there's mysteries on the levels as well, which are kind of smaller puzzles that you. Really good. I thought it was going to be more like the Tomb Raider trilogy games that we got recently. That's what I was kind of expecting. But it really, like I said, it very much plays a lot more like Dishonored. So if you like Dishonored, you're probably going to like this a lot. It does a great job. It looks brilliant. Music's great. Like I said last week, Troy Baker's Harrison Ford is just ridiculous. So yeah, I'm finishing that once we've got this Christmas shenanigans out the way, right? Once we're free men.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to pumping a lot of hours into this, definitely.
What I'm hearing though, Craig, is that indie sounds very good.
Yes.
Sounds like Game of the Year award should be in January.
What, like we're planning to do?
Yeah, so
I
people
see.
can play Indiana Jones, and then, if it is good or not good, they can put it on their list or whatever.
Yeah. It's almost like if we can figure that out, why can't anyone else, right?
I know, it's crazy.
Too
Like the Oscars
easy.
happening, the Oscars happening in February. 12 months has been. Not in December. They don't have it in December. The Oscars, they have it in February. See, they figured it out. But yeah.
What about you,
Carry on.
Pengi? What madness have you been playing?
Have you played anything else? Just indie. Nothing.
Too much. Probably like a little bit of Metaphor, but not a huge amount. So
Okay.
I've not played in a couple of weeks. Not played a massive amount. Obviously, we've been very busy.
Yeah. So my pickups. One of them is Metaphor ReFantasio on the PS5. So I now have that. I have it installed. Have not played any yet because it's not really a game you can play for like 10 minutes or whatever. I think. Yeah. I get that I can play a little bit on the portal, but I guess at the start as well, where it's teaching you stuff. The start is like 10 hours long as well, isn't it? In this, so that I forgot to write it down here, but I did have a digital pickup of Nobody Wants to Die, which is a bit of maybe a hidden gem from this year, which I got in the PSN January sale, which was £6, I believe it was. So got that, but I haven't played any of that yet. And then I've played 2 games on PS5. One of them was, earlier with the wrap up and the calendar, Infinity Nikki. I finished Infinity Nikki, or what would be 1.0 of the game because it's a live service gacha game, sort of thing. But I have finished the story that is there at the moment. Sort of thing. So that is finished. I think my total time is actually like 19 hours, even though the wrap up said 15, because it's a little bit behind. Because, like I said, I've got trophies since the one that it thinks is my newest in that surprisingly really good game. So yeah, it's just like I said like last week when I was kind of memeing, it's like Zelda, but instead of getting the mask or something in Majora's Mask or the hookshot, you're using dresses and stuff with powers to figure out how to do the puzzles and stuff like that sort of thing. And then the other game I've been playing, where I said I could be playing Marvel Rivals instead, it's Helldivers 2. And it has now gone to my 4th most played game of the year on PlayStation. I think because obviously we had the update with the new aliens on there with the new maps and stuff like that. They also added the Killzone stuff, which I kind of added here because it was sort of news with they added the DLC and then it was pretty expensive. It ended up, I know in dollars it was $20 if you wanted to buy it and it was only going to be up for like 4 days and stuff like that. Now they made it to 7. They put the second lot. They made 3. So played a few maps and everyone was dressed as the 3 Hellgas from Killzone. Everyone looked the same, pretty much. I do have the helmet and I have the title card from the first wave, which came to would have been $20 because you can earn credits in game. I'm playing, and you can earn them from warband bonds as well. And I did have some credits in the game, and I had enough for those 2 things. Like I didn't have enough for the gun, which is like 600 in credits or thing. There's a gun they added for the second wave, which is the SMG, which is really cool and it's like really good, but it like runs out of ammo really quickly because it's like the clip is gone in seconds. But yeah, Helldivers 2 is still great. Have drove the vehicle, was really hopeless to drive in the vehicle, so I went in the turret and used the turret to just shoot at big alien spaceships. So that's fun, but that's all I've played is basically Helldivers 2 at the moment. Sort of thing. And it's weirdly going back to it now, like doing the game, talking about Game of the Year lists. I don't know if it would have made my top 10. Like, oh, I haven't played it for ages, and now replaying it's like, oh, how high is it gonna go and stuff like that. So when we do our like top 10 list and like the awards, so it'd be interesting where I actually do put it in the end, sort of thing. Don't think it'd be game of the year, like it has won quite a few game of the years. I don't think it's going to be that for me, but I can definitely see it now making the top 10 again from replaying quite a bit of it. But that is everything from me.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So a good month of playing games for all. Obviously, you boys are Ramo now in work, aren't you? Until it all ends.
Yeah.
Is there anything you expect to play, Pengi? Is there anything you're hoping for Christmas from Santa Claus?
Well, obviously, I'm going to play, hopefully, Metaphor Fantasio once Christmas is over. And I should be getting what should have won Game of the Year at the Game Awards. Black Myth Wukong should be coming.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I too will probably be playing Metaphor Fantasio because I know I'm getting that on Christmas Day. So that might be next year's game from the previous year that we all liked the most. If we all finish it next year, I think perhaps it is one of the signs of the apocalypse. But yeah, well, thank you to everyone if you've got this far in the podcast and if you've watched it all this year. Hope everyone has a lovely Christmas and a lovely New Year. We will be back in 2025 with lots of shenanigans, including our Game of the Year for 2024. So look forward to that. But until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.